Hey, everybody. Good evening to you. And we welcome you into a very special night. This is a special 10th anniversary of the West Virginia University Final Four team virtual get together on what an appropriate day. It's West Virginia's birthday. And on West Virginia's birthday, we celebrate one of the greatest Mountaineer teams to ever play at WVU, a team that finished 31-7 on the season, and a team that advanced to the Final Four. And so it's great to have everyone who is joining us here tonight. As you can see on your screen, 10 years have passed, and absolutely no one has changed one single bit. Maybe not. All right. So who do we have here with us? As you can see, we've got Kevin Jones, depending on what your screen looks like, Cam Thurman, John Flowers, Wellington Smith. Yes, that is Da'Sean Butler behind that beard. Assistant coach Eric Martin, assistant coach Billy Hahn, Jared Calhoun, Larry Harrison, Joe Mazzulla, head coach Bob Huggins, with his back down on a pillow, Daryl Truck Bryant. Nice to have all you guys here. So that's all my screen has. So I'm assuming I'm not missing anyone. I hope I'm not leaving anyone out. Coming up on our program tonight, we're going to talk about this team, which as I said, 10 years may have gone by, but people still talk, guys, like you played last week. The memories that you guys put together will never be forgotten in the ride that you took West Virginia fans on. So we'll get into that in a moment. We're going to hear the coach's corner in the beginning here and talk about the coach's perspective of what you guys thought you had when the season started and then how you saw it mature and evolve as the season went on. Now, one of the big things that we're doing here tonight is we're raising money for what we're calling Team Danny. And that is in memory of Joe Mazzulla's late father, who recently passed as the result of cancer. And the proceeds being raised tonight will be donated and put into a fund that will help people that are dealing with cancer. In addition, a huge shout out to our good friends from the Book Exchange. They are one of the main sponsors. They are the title sponsor for tonight's program, and they've got a special deal. Now, Hugs, I know you love Book Exchange special offering. So, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I knew that.
Absolutely.
So here's what they're going to do. Book Exchange has markdowns on the biggest WVU gear all this month. Largest selection in the state, best deals. So all you have to do when you shop there is use this special code and get 25% off your next order. And the code is BX, like Book Exchange, BX, the number 4, Final Four. BX4 Final Four at checkout. 25% off and free shipping. So check it out at bookexchangewv.com.
Couple of things. Tony, that's a perfect deal. Now, if they just tell their cashiers, it's what a perfect deal.
Hey, tell them Hug sent you. Isn't that what they're supposed to do when they go to the Book Exchange? That's somebody else. Anyway, couple of things. Johnny West has said and sent a message to us all that he's unfortunately going to be unable to attend. He's got the greatest reason in the world. He wanted to be with us here tonight. He and his wife are celebrating the arrival of their first child, and he wanted everyone to know, I was really looking forward to joining us tonight to reflect on one of the greatest times of my life. We all need to thank eMart for reaching out to us and Wellington for planning this really fun event. Last night at 5:10 p.m., my wife, Michelle, and I welcomed our first child, a healthy baby girl, McKenna. I can't wait for the next reunion, hopefully in person. Thanks to all you guys. Have fun, and hopefully Truck will give everyone the chance to speak. I love you guys. That's from Johnny West. Also, guys, staff member Josh Eilert also reached out to me. Unfortunately, he's on the road, unable to join us tonight, but he said, if you tell one story tonight, make sure you have the guys tell the story about the first media timeout in the Morgan State game in the opening round of the NCAA tournament when you were down, I think it might have been 10. We'll get to that story later. That's a tease. Now, that's a tease. We'll talk about that story. First off, Joe, let me jump into you. Let's talk a little bit about your dad. Great guy, unbelievable Mountaineer fan. For those that are watching, they probably remember your dad with the coonskin cap at many, many of WVU's games. He recently passed away as a result of cancer. Our condolences to you. If you would, give us some insight as to what this fund is going to do for folks that are dealing with cancer.
Well, we still have the coonskin hat, so it's in the house upstairs in the West Virginia room. So that will stick with us. This time last year, he was diagnosed with glioblastoma, brain cancer. He fought with it for about a year, and he just passed on April 22nd. He was in a home for the first month of quarantine, and then they put him in hospice care at the house, and we were just able to spend the last 2 or 3 weeks with him. In the time, he was going to Mass General Hospital. The Celtics were kind enough to set him up with their doctors in his care. And, fortunately enough, we were able to afford to pay for the expenses, whether it's hotels, whether it's medicine, whether it's just, unexpected costs that come with a situation like that. So it's in its early stages, but we just wanted to start a fund to where we can help people who are going through the same thing. We know in West Virginia that the closest hospitals are Ruby or the Cleveland Clinic when it comes to something of such nature. So if there's any way that our fund can help with just gas money, hotel bills, medical bills, any unexpected costs that can give a family just a little bit more comfort in dealing with something like that. So thanks, guys, for agreeing to allow the money to go there. And thank you for everyone tuning in and for their donations and support. And if anyone does know anyone that is going through those circumstances, please reach out and we can help in any way.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also have an opportunity, and we'll share it later on, a Venmo account that folks can do. Also, for those of you that are watching, listening in, I've got a text number. If you want to send us a text, we'll try to get some text questions as well. That number is 304-807-9098, 304-807-9098. Before we hear from the coaches, let's check in with the players who are with us here. Kind of a real quick little update as to what it is that you all are into right now. KJ, I'm going to start with you. Let folks know what's up.
Well, for the last past 2 seasons, I've been playing in Japan. I live in Morgantown during the summer when I'm not playing overseas. So just been doing that for the most part. And we're trying to do this TBT tournament this summer, and just still working out with the guys and just being around everybody has been cool. And just with this whole coronavirus situation going on, just trying to stay healthy, just trying to stay, to myself. And that's was really, it's been kind of weird this summer so far, but just trying to make the best out of it.
Absolutely. Thanks for that. Cam Thurman, let Mountaineer Nation know what you're up to.
Living in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Excuse me?
Bismarck, North Dakota. But I'm in Florida right now on vacation. So since I graduated, I went to work for Marathon Petroleum Company, and I've been with them ever since. So it's going on 10 years, and I'm an HR manager at the refinery there in that location. So got a little boy named Gavin, and we have one on the way.
Outstanding. So as HR manager, would you hire any of the guys on this screen with us tonight?
Again, we have to be careful about what we say on here, so I can't do that.
Just asking. John Flowers, let people know what you're into.
I'm still playing basketball overseas. Just starting to go to France. I was in South America for a little bit. This is my 10th year playing. Most people know I put together the alumni game every year. We're planning on going on tour this summer with the TBT team around West Virginia, and just meeting some fans and playing in front of the fans again. So we did that last summer, but like KJ said, COVID kind of messed everything up. But I've been chilling, man. Just had a baby girl. Her name's Violet. Married, trying to be a good husband like Missoula, and just chilling.
Good. That's good. Da'Sean, let people know what's up.
What's going on? I play basketball overseas like the other two as well. I've been in Israel the last 2 seasons. I have 3 children, 2 boys, 1 girl. I'm pretty sure you guys see what I post online if you still do follow me. I mean, I feel like I'm repeating something that people may know, so I'll leave it at that.
And how long has the beard been grown?
Since this quarantine started.
That's good.
The quarantine started. So I want to say maybe like 2 months, maybe. This is the best I can do in the 2 months, man.
That's very nice. No, that's a very nice beard. Wellington Smith, let people know what's going on.
Yeah, so I have two beautiful daughters, one 4 years old, one 11 months old, about to be a year old on June 29th. Still happily married after 7 years. Anniversary was on May 25th. Still working, still trying to maintain, right? Trying to be like, I probably could still play overseas if, somebody give me opportunity. I was trying to be on the TBT team. If John just would have saw me dunk a couple of times, I could probably would allow me to be on the TBT team, but he picked up other players. One specific player that I just don't understand, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's cool. It's cool. That's all. That's what I'm up to.
Understand. Joe Mazzulla, you're in the game on the sidelines as a coach. Let folks know what you're into.
Yeah, it's been just finished. Well, halfway finished my 9th year of coaching. I'm coming for you, Coach Hahn. I only got 55 left to catch up to you. But just coaching for 9 years. Just finished my first season behind the bench with the Celtics. First 8 were in West Virginia. Going on year 6 of marriage, and I have 2 boys, 11-year-old and a 3-year-old. And I'm getting all the payback from my 3-year-old.
Yeah.
For when I was a kid. Don't worry, Hugs. I'm getting all the payback that I gave you, my kid.
You got a long way to go, Joe. Long way to go.
Truck Bryant, what are you into?
I had to unmute myself. I'm going to say this first, though. Cam, you look funny as hell. Cam, you look funny. Cam, you look funny. Seriously. No, but seriously, I got 2 kids, 2 daughters, and I've been playing overseas for like the last 7, 8 years. This year was the first year I ain't played, but I'm going to go back and play this year. That's about it.
Okay, good deal. Cameron Payne, you look good, man. You look relaxed. You look sun-drenched. Where are you and what's going on?
I'm relaxed. I'm in Charleston, West Virginia. Just got done playing some golf, and things are good. My wife and I are expecting our first kid in about 4 to 6 weeks. Baby girl on the way. So life's good. No complaints here.
Awesome. Congratulations to you. I see a name down here. I don't see a face. I see a couple of those. Dennis Kalichla. Dennis, are you with us? Hello. He's muted. Hello, Dennis.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Hello. How are you?
Pretty good, man. How you guys been?
Good. We'd love to
Great
see
to
your
be
face.
here.
Are you anywhere near? Can you press the button so we can see your lovely face?
Well, I don't have my camera is not working on my laptop for some reason, but
okay, gotcha.
I can get on here from my phone if I can work that out.
Absolutely. No, it's cool. You sound good. Let us know what you're into. Tell us what's going on in your life.
Since I graduated, I'm in Turkey. I played in 4 teams so far. Played for Efes, played for IBB, which was an Istanbul team. I played in another Istanbul team, and this year I just signed about 2 weeks ago a 2-year deal with another Istanbul team. And I got married 2015. No kids yet because my wife's also a volleyball player, so she can't get pregnant. So we have to deal with that. But other than that, everything is going good. Right now, I'm in Turkey. I really don't want to get out because of all this, virus and everything going on.
Yeah.
And we're waiting. We still don't know when the season's gonna start, so we're just kind of waiting to see what happens.
Outstanding. It's good to hear your voice. We appreciate you joining us because what do you got? A 5-hour time difference? Is it
7 hour?
Oh my gosh, 7. Okay.
Yeah. It's
late
1 a.m. here. Yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. Devin Ebanks also joins us. Devin, good evening to you. Thanks for being with us. What's going on in your world?
Hey, what's up, guys? You can hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
I'm all right. Just being a new dad, actually. I'm with my daughter right now. I have to grab her because she's gonna walk everywhere. So she's 11 months, but I pretty much, just been overseas the last few years. As a lot of West Virginia people know, I got drafted to the Lakers. I was there for 3 years, and I've been overseas in a few countries: Italy, France, Japan. Just a few countries, but same old, just trying to get better as a person every day. And being a new dad is fun. Learning new things about her and myself every day, really. And I also bought a new house down here in Atlanta. If any of you guys are in Georgia.
Yeah, show us that pool, Devin. We're all a lot of Mountaineer fans are coming down to Atlanta, and
But I don't even know how do you
have a pool party?
Hold on, listen. Don't run everywhere, okay?
Turn that video on.
I'm trying to do two things at once. We just had a bath, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How do you put the video on here? I don't even.
Right corner, dude.
Hey, there you go, man.
There you go.
Wow, that was right in my face. What's up, guy? Look, she's
Rag Dev.
Say hi.
A lot of money there.
Say hi.
That's awesome.
No, not today. Okay.
Well, very good, Dennis. Thanks so much for being with us. Let's jump into the coaches now. Hugs. I would imagine as you listen to what these guys are into, you got to be really proud of what these guys have become in the last decade.
Proud of them since day one, Tony. What a great bunch of guys. Fun to be around. I think we had a great time. We just great guys. I mean, it wasn't other than maybe Joe a couple times. I mean, and Cam, wrestling out on Pirate Field out there, in the on deck circle.
You had to bring that up, didn't you?
Huh?
You had to bring that up, didn't you?
Well, you knew I would. You knew I would, Cam. I still talk to Officer White, by the way. So.
I think that might become the after party show. That entire story. Hey, Hugs, you've had a ton of teams in your career. Why was this team successful?
Because they got along so well, Tony, and there wasn't any egos. They enjoyed each other. They enjoyed being around each other. They enjoyed playing together. I mean, you go back and you think about some of the games that, we're playing horrible against Notre Dame, and timeout. We switched defenses. We're still playing bad. Timeout, switch defenses, and we put Cam in. Cam almost say something nice now. So we put Cam in, and Cam got in a wrestling match with Herringody, and they rolled around on the floor for a while, and I'm not sure what Cam said to him, but Herringody wasn't the same after that, and we won. But we had, a lot of those. The 3 shots a day they made in a Big East tournament. Tony, to this day, and I've done this for 43, 44 years, the greatest moment that I've ever had was standing in Madison Square Garden, the most famous arena in the world, in the most famous city in the world, and looking around and seeing nothing but a ring of gold. And the commissioner came over, pulled on my shirt and said, would it be okay if we play Country Roads? I said, you're not going to get out alive unless you do. And he played Country Roads, and to watch, guys that I went to school with, that I ran around with, and standing there and the tears run down their faces as Country Roads was playing and everybody was singing and looking at our guys and knowing how much it meant to them to be able to do it for not just the team, but for the people of West Virginia was as gratifying a thing as I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, I agree. And to be honest with you, I think that night when they played Country Roads, that kind of started that tradition, really, because it wasn't done at home before that. But I think Country Roads now, after Mountaineer victories, kind of started as a result of that. And it was absolutely fantastic. Billy Hahn, you were around a lot of teams in your coaching career. Why was this team, in your opinion, able to reach the level that it did?
I think great chemistry. Like Hug says, everybody played for the team. They cared about each other. Nobody cared about who was the scorer, who was getting all the attention. there was no egos on that team. It was like it was just pretty cool, and you just felt that closeness the whole time. Great practice team. Came to game every day, had the hard hat on, wanted to work, wanted to get better. Wanted to get better. Very fun team to coach and to be around, and you can feel them always trying to get better.
Yeah. Hey, Larry, one of the big roles that you guys play as coaches is trying to put pieces together. Can you kind of give me your overview of how the pieces and what pieces made this team what it was?
Coach, you're on mute.
Hey, Dave, can you unmute? There you go.
I don't think he knows.
Hear me?
There you go. Go right ahead, Larry.
You hear me?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
I think, Tony, these guys, and I say these guys, Da'Sean, Wells, Joe Mazzulla, Cam, Johnny West, those guys were a team before we got here. I mean, I think they made the decision when Coach Huggins got the job. I heard stories from Da'Sean and other guys that they all got together and you know, I guess there was a lot of rumors that who was going to transfer and who was going to stay. And they got together and they decided that, you know, that they wasn't going anywhere, that they was going to stay. And I think that was, you know, Coach said they all got along. I think that was the beginning, you know, of making a really good team. And then, you know, John Flowers was a freshman at that time. So we went through that 1 year of coaching them and really getting to know these guys. And so I think that was the core. I think that was the heart of the team. And then with the addition of, you know, KJ, Devin, and Truck, I think those were the finishing touches of bringing this team together. And then the one thing I really thought brought the team together was when we lost in Minneapolis in the first round. You know, because, you know, I think we felt we was going to be pretty good and make a run in the NCAA tournament. And, you know, travel was really bad the day before. And losing the first round of the tournament, I think, you know, these guys really felt that they owed themselves, not the coaches, but owed themselves, you know, a chance to redeem themselves. So I think the core was already there. I think Da'Sean and Joe and those guys, you know, made it that way. And then with John being a freshman and then the following year adding KJ, Devin, and Truck, I think that was the finishing touches.
All right. Eric Martin, you were on a Final Four team with Hugs at Cincinnati. You coached one here. Give me your take on why this team had that special it.
Make sure I'm unmuted. Can you hear me, Tony?
Yes, sir.
Yep. I think the similarities between the team I played on at Cincinnati and this team was that they had a great leader. Our leader was Herb Jones. This team's leader was Da'Sean. And the leader was someone who didn't talk a lot, but his actions kind of led the way. And similar to Herb Jones, Da'Sean was the type of guy who you'd want to follow him. You know what I mean? He probably could have had a big ego, but he didn't. He played and he led. And usually when your leader is one of your hardest workers and he's a true leader, you're going to have a great team. You add in the chemistry factor that all the coaches talked about. And I knew we were going to have a great team, that I think we'd make the Final Four. I'll be honest, I didn't know if we'd do that, but I knew we were going to have a great team. As Larry said, what happened in Minnesota to Dayton, that was fuel for the fire for that next summer. And they all worked their ass off.
Yeah. Jared Calhoun, I'd love to get your perspective.
Yeah, a little bit different. A lot of great perspectives. You know, that year, TC, I was in charge of tickets and travel. So one of the things that really resonated with me was with the parents. In all my years, been part of some really good teams, and obviously this is probably the best ever. Whether it was KJ's brother Gerard or Rosette, Cam's family, you know, Dan Mazzulla and his family coming, Devin Ebanks' family. It really, the foundation for these guys started at home. And that's one of the things that I've taken in my recruiting now as a head coach, is it really starts at home. So that's what I'll remember Of course, we'll remember a lot of different stories, but the parents, the amount of miles they put on their cars and in the air, it was tremendous.
It's very sad.
I'm going to throw this out to any of the coaches who want to jump in. Hugs, you mentioned the culmination of the Big East tournament as one of the great moments. You guys started off on an incredible run to start the season. You don't lose your first game until January 1. So you go November and December. And amidst that, we had a couple of memorable games. Now, some might not think that the Cleveland State game would have been a high-profile game, and yet it was.
You mean when Day traveled at the end of the game and they didn't call it?
Well, I was actually referring to when he hit the winning shot, but they didn't that one too. Let's go non-conference. Any of those coaches, any of those games early on tell you something about this team? Was it the Cleveland State game?
I think the Cleveland State game, Tony, I think really, as much as you talk about it all the time about anybody can beat you on any given day, you get pretty good, and we were pretty good. And we took apart a bunch of really good teams, and we go to Cleveland, and all of a sudden we're playing a team that's really not supposed to be in the game, and all of a sudden it's a great game. It's a dogfight, and I think that really helped with the guys. We got to come play every day. We've got to show up for every game. And honestly, I thought we did, other than maybe the Purdue game, but I could understand because it was so damn cold. That's the coldest I've ever been in my life. I mean, I can't believe that they go through that all winter. But I mean, we walked out of there, and all of a sudden your face froze. It didn't. Huh?
Try living in North Dakota.
There's a reason, Cam, they don't have very many people there. But it was, and then that was kind of a wake up for us as well. But, I think you have those during the course of the season. And the great thing was these guys came back, with the idea that we're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to. Tony, I still to this day, one of the great things that I enjoy watching time after time is they hit a three. And if people don't remember, we led at halftime, I think by 4, and we didn't make a 2-point field goal. It was all threes and free throws, and Day hit a 3, and you could see his mouth running, and I didn't know what he said. And I kept trying to figure out what he said. So one day I asked him, I said, Day, what did you say when you made that field goal? He said, I own college basketball.
Goes that ego we were talking about before.
Wait a second. I thought someone said he was a quiet leader. Eric, did you say he was a quiet leader?
Yeah, but he had, they had some, without being too graphic, they had some shit to him. He is from New Jersey, so got a little shit to him.
Yeah. Hey, one of the great compliments I have for you guys as a staff, as you mentioned, Larry, there was a transition period, and a lot of these guys, several of these guys, were already in the program when you guys got here. And from a staff perspective, it was your willingness to take some of those things that they were doing previously when Coach Beilein was here, i.e., the 1-3-1 zone defense. I think the easy thing would have been for you guys to say, no, this is what we do, and we're this. Can you talk as far as when your staff meetings were going on from a coaching perspective, why you were open to doing what it was that they had been doing instead of saying, no, that's not who we are?
We didn't have any staff meetings about it, Tony. We just went to practice, and if we didn't know what we were doing, we say, Dave, what do you do whenever this happens? Or Joe, what do you do in the back there whenever they overload a side? Or Alex Ruoff was great with us the year before. It was those guys coached the 1-3-1, Tony. I mean, I've made no bones about that. People are like, oh, your staff did such a great job of coaching a 1-3-1. We had no idea what the hell was going on. Those guys did it, and they coached themselves, and we tried to make suggestions, and if it was a good suggestion, they did it. And if it was a bad suggestion, they just said, don't pay any attention to them. Let's go do what we do. And I mean, they deserve all the credit in the world for the 1-3-1.
Okay, with that being said then, and Larry, you mentioned this, when KJ and Devin and Truck came in, did you recruit thinking 1-3-1? Because Devin obviously out in the top on that 1-3-1 was absolutely a horror for opposing teams. Was that the key to making that 1-3-1 as good as it was?
Well, I wouldn't say we recruited Devin for the 1-3-1. Obviously, he was a good choice to put up there. I think one thing that might have helped Devin was, as Coach had said earlier, you know, Da'Sean and Joe, you know, those guys knew it, all the little things that, you know, we as coaches at that particular time really didn't understand. And so we would play Da'Sean at the top, we played him in the middle, we played him on the wing, played him in the back. So, you know, he knew all the little intricacies that went with that. And then when we put Devin up there, you know, Devin has a very, you know, and I know he's on the call here, but he has a very high basketball IQ. And he you know, would listen to what Da'Sean and Joe pretty much had to say and where to tell him to go. And then he, you know, because of his length and his IQ, he really made that go. I can remember numerous times when and to this day we still haven't had a guy to play the top like Devin. But how many times when they try to throw the ball across court, and I remember Da'Sean telling Devin sometimes, fake like you go in there and then come back. You know, have active hands and keep your hands low, because most people like to bounce pass across court rather than throw across. And if you guys remember, Devin got plenty of steals at the top from people bouncing the ball across, or even just him faking one way and going the other. So, you know, it was like I said earlier, you know, those three guys came in and we kind of like put the pieces together. It was prior to us coming there, I've seen West Virginia play when I was scouting for the Wizards, and they were a very skilled team, you know, with Alex Ruoff and Da'Sean and Mazzulla and those guys. And the crazy thing about it is that Joe Alexander, he really didn't play a whole lot in the two games that I saw him play. But I know Coach Huggins and I was talking about the team, and I told him, I said, you know, with all the Cincinnati teams that we've had, the toughness, the athleticism that we had at Cincinnati, that this team here will probably be the most skilled team that I've been associated with Hugs. And we was able, you know, coach was able to put it all together using their skill level, using their basketball IQ, and you know, we just became probably one of the best teams in West Virginia history.
You mentioned basketball IQ a couple of occasions there, Billy. How much of this team's success was athleticism and ability, and how much of it was their understanding of the game? We've got Joe's coaching out there. We've got guys that are still playing at the professional level. How much of it was their understanding of how to play?
I think that was a big part. I think it was huge, their understanding of the game. And I'm going to make a side note on the 1-3-1. My man, Devin Ebanks, being up top in that 1-3-1, it gave him a great ability to rebound the basketball because he was so big. And against 1-3-1, people end up shooting a lot of jump shots. There was a lot of long rebounds. And Devin Ebanks was tremendous at rebounding the ball out of the 1-3-1.
Yeah. Eric, I'd like to get your perspective. As I said earlier on, I think you guys could have come in with egos to say, well, this is what we did at Cincinnati, and this is how we roll, and this is what we're going to do. Give me your take on that aspect from the X's and O's standpoint. Were you a little surprised that Hugs was as willing as he was to kind of do other things?
No, I think that's why Hugs is a great coach, because over time he's adjusted to his talent. We've had 4 years to press Virginia, but to be honest, those 4 years we had guys that were good at the press, and we haven't done that our whole time here. So He's a future Hall of Famer, you know, for that reason. He knows his personnel and he coaches to it. Real quick, Tony, I'll tell you another thing about this team. They had fun, but they weren't silly. You know what I mean? When it was time to practice, they practiced. Now, after practice, they might say or do some goofy stuff, but during practice, man, these guys were all business, and that's the trait that all great teams have.
Yeah, that's a good point. I do recall noise in the back of the bus, guys, talking about having fun. There was there a Reverend Flowers that was in the back of that bus, if I remember correctly, back then?
Yeah, that was freshman year. It wasn't.
Oh, that was freshman year. Okay, you transitioned. I got you.
Deacon Flowers that year, Tony. Deacon Flowers.
Deacon. Oh, you elevated to deacon at that time.
Joe's the Reverend now. I'll leave all the priests.
Hey, let's transition here. We're going to go to I want to talk about this. One last question around the horn here with the coaches. Besides the run, and we'll get into the Kentucky game, besides those moments, do you have a favorite memory from that season? Do you have a memory where a light bulb turned, or you felt something that you don't forget that maybe other people aren't aware of? Was there a moment that you liked with this team? Jared, did you have anything where you had an aha moment?
Yeah, I was talking to Joe yesterday about this one. I thought it was classic Hugs. Governor Manchin, now he's our senator, but he had spoke a few times throughout the season, and both times we lost the games. I think it was Marquette at home, or a couple of times at home he wanted to speak. So he came at Syracuse and wanted to give the pregame talk before Kentucky game, and Hugs basically told me he wasn't allowed to talk because he was 0 for 2. That was a good one for me.
Only Hugs. Other guys, Larry, Hugs, Eric, Billy, any moment that some folks might not remember that you carry as special about this team?
Yeah, I tell you one thing that we started out very beginning of the season, and after every practice or every timeout or whatever, we put our hands up high and we would actually say national champions. And we talked about being national champions, and Hugs was not scared of talking about being a national championship. I think a lot of people shy away from that sometimes, but Hugs embraced that, and we embraced it as a team. And I think we really believe we could win the national championship. But, there's a lot of things that were taking place that we were pretty damn close to doing it. So I think that was a big thing in my mind, that we were able to really sort of carry out what we believed in and what the entire team always put their hands together and said after every practice, every timeout, etc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tony, we lost in Madison Square Garden. I think it must have been a Big East tournament. I think we beat Pitt, I think, and we lost a real close game to Connecticut, I think, maybe. When Alexander was a senior, and I can remember I'm going in the locker room and I'm beside myself and I'm sitting there, and Larry comes in and says, "Hugs, I need you to talk to somebody." I said, "Get the away from me." and he goes, "No, Hugs, I really need you to talk to somebody." I'm like, "Larry, I don't want to talk to anybody. I mean, can't I just?" He goes, "No, you got to talk to this. You got to talk to this guy. You got to talk to this guy." At the end of the day, we wouldn't have been as good as we were without any of these guys. And everybody's talked about Devin, but Devin at the top of that 1-3-1, and Devin coming in as a high school All-American and really accepting a role that he was a defensive stopper, which he was. And I didn't want to talk to him. I was so pissed off. I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want to see anybody. And I think because of Larry's persistence, I talked to who I had to talk to, and fortunately Devin decided to be a Mountaineer and join a group of equally talented guys. And when we say that, we couldn't have been as good as we were without any of these guys. You think back and you think about guys who maybe didn't play that. Johnny West made big shots for us at times. It was, or put Johnny in to make free throws, and we just had a whole host of guys that we couldn't do without, and there wasn't one guy that didn't contribute to winning games. And I think that's special. I think it's special that you can have a team of that many guys that you can look back at the season and every one of them contributed in winning a game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's special. I remember Doris Burke came in one time and she's talking about Rick Pitino and what a great job Rick did with Louisville and how Rick should be the national coach of the year. Of course, she was at Providence when Rick was and a little bit biased. But she came in and they had this 6'10" center who was athletic as can be, big old strong dude. And she said, look at what Rick has to work with. And I said, whoa, Doris, stop. There's my center. And I pointed at Cam Thurman. And she said, you're joking. I said, watch the film. That's my center. And you know what? Cam went out there and locked the dude up. But that's the kind of team we had. That's the kind of guys that we had. And it's I think sometimes we get way too much credit because they're the ones that do it. I mean, at the end of the day, they're the ones that do it. And, they have a choice to be receptive or not receptive. They have a chance to play hard or not play hard. And these guys always took the high road.
Yep, absolutely. All right, time to jump into the players now. A reminder that this event, our 10th anniversary of the Final Four team, is being brought to us in part by the Book Exchange, and they're offering a 25% discount on your next order when you use the promo code BX4 Final Four for 25% off your order at bookexchangewv.com. That's BX4, the number 4, Final Four. The Book Exchange, where Mountaineers go since 1934. All right, let's jump in, guys. Players in. We've talked about your team chemistry. We've talked about the selfless attitude. We didn't have any guys that said, I got to get mine. Day, I'm going to start with you. Unselfish. You had to be coaxed and talked into becoming a scoring guy because you transitioned throughout your career. Can you walk us through your memories of being asked to take more control and why it worked?
You muted, Dave.
Y'all hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Oh, apologies, my bad. I would just say we'd had some exhibition games where we'd be playing very well as a team, and in those games I would end up getting extra shots in those games. And me being new to I would say like being a leader or a scorer, like a leading scorer in the team, that was like new to me. So my friends and my teammates would joke around all the time, and I didn't obviously take it as jokes initially. And coach just told me to lighten up and we need you to go out there and play and don't worry about what people say, just play. But my teammates were, we joke around all the time. So I took it serious as opposed to, or maybe I need to take a step back and stop shooting as much and get everybody else involved. But coach said no. So y'all can get mad at him.
Hey, Joe Mazzulla, I'm going to get your take on, now that you do this for a living as far as coaching, you guys strive to try to get everyone to play together. What's your reflection as to why this team was the way that it was as far as sharing the ball and having that ability?
Everybody kind of hit on it. It was just everybody knew their role. I wasn't going to shoot. Most of the time, I wasn't going to shoot a shot that where I knew I could pass it to KJ or Da'Sean or Devin or, Cam Thurman wasn't going to shoot if he didn't need to. John was going to play defense. Wellington wasn't allowed to shoot until his senior year. And the list goes on. So I just think there was a understanding of each role, and we just kind of played into it, and we didn't have a problem. Like, everybody knew Da'Sean was going to shoot the ball at the end, and we would be more mad if he didn't shoot it. So once we got past the role definition, it was pretty easy.
Truck, what about you? Give me your take on that. Yeah, go ahead, Hugs. Go ahead, Hugs.
One question. Joe, have you taught the Celtic big guys that nut cruncher that you pulled, the behind the back and, grab the old nuts and cut? Have you shared that with those guys?
Yeah. Only Dennis has asked about it. He's the only one.
He's the only one.
We haven't used it much.
Yeah. Very successful. Very successful. Hey, Truck, you were put into a role of sharing and playing that guard position. What was your mindset?
We was just trying to win. That was it. I mean, we was just trying to win. We got it done together. I mean, obviously a lot of differences, but I mean, that's what a team is for. We get through anything as a team, and the main goal was to win. I mean, to be honest, I ain't gonna sit here and lie though. We went out from probably Wednesday to Saturday every week. But we came to play. We came to play. We went out every week, but you know what I mean? We came to play and we won. So
better speak your truth.
I got to speak my truth. I also got to speak my truth about this. Where is Cam Thurman? He really went to dinner.
Cam has departed. I believe Cam has.
No, Caridi, he had dinner. I'm not joking. He really had dinner.
Well, he's a dad. He's a dad. Hey, John, I know you always take shots at Hugs for not letting you shoot enough, and yet you understood your role. What was your role in your mind on this team?
Just to be the energy guy, I think, come off the bench and just pick us up wherever we needed to, whether that was defense, hitting the big three, playing the top of the 1-3-1. I wasn't as good as top of the 1-3-1 as Dev was. Dev got his hands on a lot of balls, and I mean a lot of balls. But just come in and do what I can do.
Hey, Wellington, we were on the bus this season, I think it was, and Larry will remember this. And we said, okay, let's put together the top 5 athletic players since you guys have been here. And this was Hugs' 13th season at WVU. And to a man, everyone on the staff said Wellington Smith, top 5 athletic all time since they've been there. So number one, know that. Number two, give me your take on what you felt your role was on this team.
It was always nice to be appreciated. The athletic comment, but my role was, was different than everybody else's. When I first came to West Virginia, I probably thought I was going to be a guard/wing. That really changed things once Hugs and the team got there. Where I obviously had to be more selfless, and if I was wanting to play, I had to at least start guarding the biggest guys out there, and do my best to try to compete, to try to stay on the floor, but also knowing what I'm really good at, right? Blocking shots, making open shots when I could, and changing the game that way, right? So, my goal every single game was to make sure that I did my job, and helping people do theirs, and hopefully we end up with the W at the end of the day.
Hey, campaign. This a couple of times already tonight. We've talked about how good of a practice team this was. Your role. What did you bring to this team as far as a day-to-day attempt on that floor?
Well, I tried to bring everything I could, whatever that was. I can remember numerous times, being a guard on offense, playing against the 1-3-1 and Ebanks and Flowers and Da'Sean, getting their hands on all the balls and slapping it around, and Coach Harrison just screaming at me, "Scotty Reynolds ain't gonna turn that over. You gotta give us a good look, Cam. Come on, give us something." And then I'm like, "Well, goddamn." Excuse my language. Sorry about that. I'm like, "Damn, Coach Harrison." I was like, "This 6'9", 6'8". I was like, "Well, I'm doing the best I can." And then on game day, I'd be hanging out, and I'd watch Scotty Reynolds turn it over, and I'd be like, same thing I did. Go be some slack.
That's a solid point.
That's that's one of the things I remember. Practice was tough. Hugs ran a tough ship, and it was it was intense. And then during times when then all of a sudden you get in the game, the games were easier than practice. And I can say that from my experience. I'm sure some of those other guys probably feel the same way.
Yeah. Hey, Devin, we've talked a lot about you here tonight. Give me what you thought and felt that your role was on this team. What were you trying to do?
Well, just like everybody said, we understood our roles. For me personally, I came in, highly ranked and coming out of high school, so people were expecting me to score. I didn't really, find my offensive game really till late my freshman year, and then coming in my sophomore year, it turned more into defense and being more of a team player. So, I grew as a player as West Virginia because I didn't play a lick of defense at all before coming to West Virginia. So just getting an opportunity to, learn with some other guys that understood the game, older and younger than me as well. So like, it was just a good experience, and I understood my role, and it pretty much paved the way for the player I turned out to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Dennis, if you're still with us, give me your take on what you felt your role was on this team.
Well, first of all, I was suspended for 22 games.
Yeah.
So, and I came in like as a freshman, not knowing anything about American basketball at all. I mean, I played in some high school, but it wasn't in the same kind of level. It wasn't even close. So uh, when I came in, the first thing was I got to get myself in shape to keep up with these guys. That was the first thing. And the second thing was I'm suspended for almost the whole year. So what can I do? How can I, contribute in this situation? So I was most of the time in a position. Let's say if you're playing Notre Dame, I try to uh, play like Luke Herringody and try to do his moves. Because I could use both of my hands, I could give good looks. I could play like some other guy the next week. So and I'll try to give my best performance in a practice like a game, because that was all I can do. So what I try to do and what was in my mind, get yourself in shape and just give him a good look, give all the players a good look. With Cam Thurman, I'll play different. With Wells, when Wells was guarding me, I would play different to just try to do certain things. And Coach Martin will tell me, okay, turn to your right shoulder because so and so does this, right? So I try to do this to best of my capabilities, and I like to think I helped the team on that. And when I started playing, I just wanted to not mess up anything. So I wanted to make sure I understood what we were doing, and I wanted to make sure that when I get in the team in the game, things didn't go wrong, and I contribute in a way that so like they can get his shots, maybe set a better screen and roll better so people get open, and if I'm open, that's even better.
Yeah.
So that's what I was trying to do the whole time my freshman year.
Very good. Cam Thurman has made the move from inside to now he is going out to dinner. Cam, thanks for staying with us here. Describe what you felt your role was for this team.
Well, I think I was entirely undervalued. I had so much scoring capability that those guys just would never let me do. I still can't figure out why. A little bit mad about that. But other than that, again, with everybody else saying, it's a great group of guys to be around. We had a lot of fun together. I'll agree with campaign. Practice was way harder than games. It's like every day I had to kill myself in practice just so I didn't get shown up or, look like I didn't belong out there. So, but, great ride and still reminisce about it every day. We have a group chat that we all talk on and we all still give each other shit to this day. So.
Yeah, you guys are amazingly close. Hey, one guy that we haven't brought up his name yet, but wanted to send his regrets that he couldn't join us is Andy Kettler. Andy Kettler is celebrating with his son's third birthday today. So he wanted to make sure that you guys knew that he was thinking about you. Since he's not here, we can tell stories. The World According to Andy Kettler. And any of you players can jump in on it. What was that like? Da'Sean, why are you laughing?
I just think about I'm basically responsible for a lot of Kevin Jones's punishments that he's had at WVU. And he had to do a lot of punishments because of my ability to not be on time. So Andy saw me and Kevin all the time at a certain point in our careers there.
Yeah. How much of a difference did he make to your guys' games?
I would say for me, honestly, I say tremendous. I mean, he was like Hugs in a sense. He was like the culture of the team. Like he reinforced what Hugs wanted us to do. Like he kind of changed my thought process on how to step to the court because he pushed me as hard as he can in the weight room. So I kind of, in my mindset was if I can survive the weight room, I can survive anything that the coaches can throw me on the basketball court. So I kind of think, Andy was very important for us, especially that year. Like he was the culture setter for our team.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else want to take a stab on that one? Memories
I had an interesting introduction to Andy. It was my sophomore year, going to my junior year, and I was coming back from Taiwan. We were playing overseas for 2-3 weeks, and I went home. Probably should have done it, but I went home to back to Jersey, and I came back after like a week. And Coach Harrison calls me into his office. He's like, you should went home, right? You should went home, right? I'm like, I just want to go home, visit my family. So then he's like, well, we got this new trainer. He wants to see you at the football field in the next hour. I'm like, all right, well, let me drop off my stuff and I'll go. So I have this punishment that I have to do where it's 200 tire flips, 200 yards worth of tire flips and sled pushes. And Andy, it wasn't good enough that Andy was put 125, 145 pounds of weight on it, but he also had to stand on it as well. And I had to sled push for another 200 yards. So Andy we still talk to this day. We still talk about that moment when we first met. And it was awesome, but he was definitely like Dave said, just set the culture in the weight room of what this team could be and what we could all do when we're playing basketball.
Hey, Tony.
Yes, sir.
The only thing I'll add is that he's the reason I'm fat now is because he made me hate working out so much that I never want to step foot in the gym again.
But just think of this, Cam. He got you to near thoroughbred level, right? When he was with you. I mean, near thoroughbred level.
Hugs, did you make up those punishments or did Kettler come up with those?
John, I'm not innocent of a lot, but I am innocent of that one.
Hey, from a coaching standpoint, you guys and any of the coaches can jump in here. I think that's probably one of the things that a fan may not fully understand of how vital a role a strength and conditioning coach plays on a team, because quite honestly, he may be with the kids more than the coaches are, since off season and regular time you can't do it. What is your message? What was your message to him? What were you trying to have him cultivate with your team? And Hugs, you can jump in here first.
Well, I've been blessed. I've been blessed to have, I think, the best strength coaches in America. And I think some of the reason that they are what they are is I don't try to do their job for them. Obviously I'm not in the weight room. And, you know, all I want them to do is I want to make it hard. I mean, just make it hard. Make it hard. Obviously, we want them to get stronger. Obviously, we want them to get quicker, you know, more flexible, the whole deal. But it needs to be hard because, guys, I think, you know, when you go through what Andy put guys through, what Scott before him put guys through, you know, you reach down a little deeper. You know, when things get hard, you reach down a little deeper and say to yourself, this ain't shit compared to what we've been through. And I think honestly, that's why our guys fight through things that a lot of other people don't and can't.
That's a really good point. And I'll throw it back out to you guys, the players. If I'm not mistaken, you guys won 6 games on last shots. Did the weight room, no quit attitude come into play there?
I think that was Da'Sean just digging deeper when things got hard. They're all Da'Sean Butler right there.
Every play was actually for me, but then I was too wide open, so I just passed the day, and it actually worked out that way.
Hey, well, tell
that unselfishness right there is where our team went as far as it did.
Tell Day the truth. Day didn't block his man out the Notre Dame game, and you had to go rebound it for him because he
never lied about that.
I'm like,
I've never lied about it.
He's over there hugging Wells. I'm like, what the hell went on? I didn't know until I looked at the tape.
Thank you hug. It's a thank you hug. Don't people hug to say thank you all the time?
All the
time. It's a very common thing in the world.
Wells would have got blamed for it too.
No doubt.
Yes, I definitely would have. There was a time, I'm not sure if Coach Hahn remembers this.
No one ever lied on film. Like no one's ever lied. Coach has never covered anyone on film. So don't say he would have blamed you if my guy would have rebounded. I definitely would have got blamed.
What's happened before?
I think Wells got blamed for quite a few things.
Yeah, but that's not after film. Like you had to see the film first to believe it, obviously.
We literally had to bring film into the locker room right after.
He's never lied after film was my point.
Just Dave Wells.
Just name a time he's lied after film.
The eye in the sky never lies.
Hey,
All
Coach
right.
Martin. Coach Martin.
What's up, Truck?
Give Da'Sean 2 for lying.
That's treadmill.
Hey, who claims the honor of being on the treadmill the most that season?
I'll take that. Truck?
Mitchell.
I don't know. I don't know because my side, we was doing what we was doing, Coach Hahn. We was chilling. We was chilling. Coach Harrison had boot camp, and me and the guards was chilling. Me, Joe, John Pepper, we was chilling. But Ebanks, Camp Jones.
No, we had the best breakdown. Harrison.
By far.
We had the breakdown. That was competitive.
Hey, Da'Sean, Devin, remember the time in practice when we was doing one-on-one defense? And Devin was guarding somebody and he reached and stole the ball. I said, Devin, stop reaching. Stop reaching. And so we went one-on-one again. I don't know who he was going against. And he stole it again. I said, God damn it, Devin, you stop reaching. You're just going to get a foul call. So we went one-on-one again, and he stole the ball again. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, Dev, go ahead.
He probably stole it from Wells. Wells can't dribble.
Yeah, he probably stole it from me.
Hey, Tony.
Welly and KJ.
I got a couple things. Tony, I got a couple more things.
Go right ahead, Billy.
Yeah.
Take my ball, Dev.
You mentioned Andy Kettler.
Hey.
And I tell you what, Casey Mitchell and Dalton Pepper also made huge shots at times during that run. And Casey Mitchell, you know, it's just amazing how good he was at shooting that basketball. And Dalton Pepper brought some things to the table too. So besides Andy Kettler, those two guys, I thought everybody had a little piece of the puzzle.
Right.
And my last thing is this. You talked about Andy Kettler and the toughness that he put in the program. Well, everything behind the program was about tough love, and Hugs was really good at tough love. And Andy Kettler would carry the tough love over with these guys. Kettler was tough on these guys, but Andy Kettler spent a lot of time one-on-one talking to these guys and giving his love and advice to them about life. And I call it tough love, and I think that had a big thing to do with our success as well.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Hey,
About
Jeff,
it,
you noticed that your daughter was great until Billy started talking, and then she started crying. Billy's had that effect on many women.
Hey, about an hour ago, I mentioned that Josh Eilert wanted to make sure that we talk about the Morgan State first media timeout. So we'll do that. Obviously, you guys win the Big East Conference tournament. The opening round game of the NCAA tournament is in Buffalo. The opponent is the Morgan State Bears. Morgan State jumps out early against you guys, build a double-digit lead, if I'm not mistaken. Inside 16-minute timeout comes, and you guys go to the bench. Hugs, I would imagine that you were barking at him pretty good at that point. Now, anyone can jump in here. What was the situation that happened during that first media timeout with Morgan State?
Okay, Tony, first off, it wasn't the first media timeout. The game was over by then. It was the second half. That's why I don't know who else I wasn't looking, but they had maybe one of the best dance teams ever. And I'm not really sure what song was playing, but when I said they broke it down for the entire timeout, which is why I mean, we were up. I don't know how much we were up by, but they were doing some big things. Those women there, they were talented.
Hey, Tony, let me jump in, because I don't think Coach Martin really remembers what really happened. You know, I'm gonna refresh his memory. Okay, we was in a timeout, and Hugs was on the team pretty good. I was next to Hugs looking at the team. The team was facing the court, and Hugs is talking. I'm looking at the team, and it's like they're like blank. You know, there's no expression. There's nothing. And we break the huddle, and I looked at Coach Martin, and I like, what was that all about? What's wrong with these guys? And Coach Martin said, "Did you see them dancers?" And I turned around and looked, and I just started laughing. But I think Coach Martin, he did see what was going on out there.
I did. Maybe, Coach. My memory's not as good as it should be.
I got a question for the coaches. Were y'all ever like worried? Because they got out on a big lead on us. Were y'all ever like worried a little bit? Like,
well, it was the first game in the first round, so you know, obviously you're a little nervous, but I mean, we didn't think that we was going to lose to Morgan State, but they did jump on us pretty good in the first few minutes of the game. They jumped up and made a few shots, and they might even had the lead. But you know, in the NCAA tournament, the first game, I think once you get past that first game, I think you're not as nervous. But the first game,
y'all put me in, and everything turned around.
It always happened like that, John. Once you came in the game, everything was good.
My husband is a Hall of Fame coach.
Right. Hey, John, between you defending and KJ shooting, we was fine.
John, I will say this. Every time you went in the game, it turned around. Now, I'm not saying that it always was good, but it turned around.
Got one, bro.
What, is KJ sleeping somewhere? KJ hadn't said a word. He just sitting there.
Where'd KJ? I lost KJ.
Join the conversation.
KJ's gone.
Hey, guys, let me ask you, here's a question from some of the folks that are listening. Let's do some of these questions.
Ask KJ.
What were the coaches' reactions to the media attention around the viral videos that you guys shot in your hotel rooms at the time before things went viral online? How did John Flowers ruin social media for all the other players? I'm barely remembering. You guys did something in your hotel rooms, video, and it got out. What was that?
Hugs, I always wanted to ask you this question. If we would have lost that game, would I have to transfer the next year?
No, the next day.
I always roll the dice, man.
Wait, come on, John. We wouldn't have gave you a year. I mean, a day.
Just think about.
I wasn't involved in that video, by the way.
Okay.
You know,
just 10 years. Statute of limitations over.
What video was that? Refresh my memory.
That was before before Instagram was big. I think Twitter was like brand new. So like during that whole year, if Instagram wasn't around when we were in school, if Instagram was around when we were during that year, I probably would have got kicked out early on, just from a lot of stuff. And yeah, man.
Not you, John.
This way, man.
Here comes another question, guys. Having the hindsight now of 10 years and seeing the careers that some of those Kentucky players have had in the NBA, does it make that victory feel even more like a bigger accomplishment?
What do you think, Kev?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you see that they had a couple top 10 picks in that class that we beat. So yeah, it makes it feel good that we really accomplished something. I mean, not a lot of people had us winning that game at all. I think just the state of West Virginia did. So in that moment, it felt good. But just looking back, it definitely feels even better to see what we accomplished that day.
Anyone else want in on that question?
Yeah, I'll add something to that. To me, I felt like going into the tournament, we felt like we should have been a 1 seed that year. And we ended up as a 2 seed, but not any one of the players or anyone on the coaching staff. And I think from the top, from Hugs down, I felt like we knew we were going to win that game. Hugs kind of has Calipari's number, and going into the game, we knew we were going to win it. It didn't feel like an upset at all to me, and I'm sure it didn't feel like an upset to anyone else. Looking back on it 10 years later, obviously they've had a lot of success in the NBA, but going into that game, I had a lot of confidence that obviously my teammates were gonna do what was necessary.
Hey, coaches, I want to get your take on that. You coached obviously for so many years, all combined. Was that the most talented team you've ever beaten that night?
Probably. I mean, if you look back at some of the Marquette game teams with Jimmy Butler and what was the kid, McNeil, and there was 3 of them. I can't remember the third guy.
Hayward, LeVar
Hayward, yeah, Hayward.
And Buckles.
Buckles, yeah. I think two or 3 of those guys end up going to the NBA. The Kentucky team was very talented. The Villanova team, their guard was very talented. But yeah, I would say overall the Kentucky team was probably man for man the most talented team we played, in my opinion.
What was the plan that night from an X and O standpoint? I don't think the game plan said, let's make every 3-point shot and no 2s in the first half. From a coaching standpoint, what was your point of attack? How'd you think you were going to beat him?
Keep John Wall out of the lane and keep him out of transition.
I think starting out, I mean, we were, like Coach Martin said, trying to contain John Wall and not let him get the ball and go baseline to baseline. I remember one time out, Devin, I don't remember if it was the first time out or the second time out, we came in the huddle and Devin said, that's the quickest guy that he's ever had to guard, but going into halftime of that game, Tony, we really didn't realize that we hadn't made a 2-pointer, and we, the coaches, we huddled up outside the locker room and we looked at the stats and we said, Coach, we hadn't made a 2, and it wasn't like we was a great 3-point shooting team, but, basically it was going in to make them chase us in our motion offense, man-to-man defense, We knew we was going to play some 1-3-1, but going into halftime, I think like the last 3 or 4 minutes of the first half, we were playing 1-3-1 and they hadn't scored on it. And so as a staff, I think we made a decision, hey, let's go out and play 1-3-1 and see what happens. And, good things happen from that.
Yeah.
Hey, Tony, speaking of that, and another unique thing about this team had a great ability to carry out the game plan of the scouting report. And Coach Harrison had a scouting report on Kentucky. And the scouting reports were carried out extremely well all year long. And everybody's scouting report was different. Everybody had their own way of doing their scouting report. But this team really carried out great ability to carry out the scouting report to what we asked them for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, guys that listen. Players, contact that you've had with some of those Kentucky players over the last 10 years, either playing against them, running into them, comments that they've made. We've got some questions from our folks that are listening in. They'd love to know what some of the Wildcats have said to you in passing over the last several years. Joe, I know you probably still run into some of those guys. I asked you about that not all that long ago. Anything stand out to you?
Not really, but to add what the coaches said, I think the other key was just running our offense. We scored a lot on curl screens, back cuts, and we used – I forget what the shot clock was. I think it was just turned to 30 seconds, but we used a lot of the shot clock to run offense. And especially late in that second half, I think KJ got a couple, Da'Sean got a couple, Devin got one, I got one, just curls to the basket. So I know that was a huge point of emphasis.
From an individual standpoint, Joe, your name most outstanding player. Why were you able to have the level of success that you did? What was there? Why did it work?
I have no idea. I honestly couldn't answer that. We just executed the game plan. We ran. I remember the first three that I hit, we were running motion offense, and he came off the curl and he stopped behind, and he tried to go underneath it, and I stopped and shot it and accidentally went in, and it just gave confidence throughout the rest of the game. And then I think we were able to find a relatively easy rhythm on offense. And I think we controlled the defensive rhythm with the 1-3-1. I hadn't seen it all year. So I think we just found a good rhythm and we were able to stick with it.
I know time goes by, guys, quickly, and you guys, you remember the game, but there are people and there are fans out there that remember this stuff to a T. So here's a question for you, Joe. This is from James in New Jersey. I wanted to get any comments from any of the guys on one of my favorite moments of the game, one that I don't know if many people would even remember. The score was 13-8 Kentucky. John Wall tried throwing a pass over the top of the key, and a one-armed Joe Mazzulla jumped right into 6'11", 255-pound Daniel Orton with no fear, grabbed a loose ball, which drew a foul. For me at that point as a Mountaineer fan, it was the moment when Kentucky knew they were in trouble because the Mountaineers weren't afraid of the big, bad wolf or Wildcat. Do you think Kentucky walked onto that floor thinking that you guys were ho-hum, and at some point in the night they went, we got a situation?
I remember that play, but I think the more important play was Eric Bledsoe's second foul. And I think Calipari panicked a little bit and took him off the floor. And that was one less ball handler that they had against the 1-3-1. And, Darius Miller is a great pro now. But he had to come into the game for the rest of the first half. So once we got Bledsoe in foul trouble, which came from one of those cheap shots that I gave him, which Huggins was talking about. But I think getting Bledsoe off the floor was huge for us that first half.
Yeah. Physically, guys, let's talk a little bit about, I'd love to get your take on style of play. A decade has passed. Joe, you mentioned the shot clock was in a transition period back 10 years ago. Do you like the way that the game is today? And I know that some of you guys are playing professionally. Do you like the way the game's going of perimeter-based attacks and stretch fours? Give me what you think of basketball today.
Kev? KJ, you got that? Yeah, man.
Oh, that question was
I don't play. I don't play anymore. I can tell you what I think, but nobody really cares about what I think.
I mean, I feel like there's the game is really positionless now. You got a lot of guys playing different positions. Being a guy who likes to, I mean, I can guard. I feel like I can play some different positions. I feel like it's right up my alley, and I like the way the game has evolved. You got 7-foot guys shooting threes. You got 6'3" guys that can post up. So it's just a lot of different ways you can go about it, and it's good to see. And hopefully it keeps on evolving. You'll see more skilled guys, more athletic guys as the further along the game gets. So I think it's exciting to see the transition.
Da'Sean, here's a question for you from the crowd. Todd in Charleston. He wants to know once and for all, did you really call bank in Lance Stevenson's face as you hit the 3 against Cincinnati?
Yes, no, I did not. Nah. I literally told, all I said was I'm making the shot. And he was just talking trash. And the shot went in. I didn't call bank. I mean, I don't have the time to. It's not enough time. It was to
Did
call
you
out a bank
did you
shot,
tell
like,
him?
yeah,
Did you tell him when before the ball was coming in bounds that you were going to make?
No,
the shot?
he knew the ball. He knew the ball would mean. He knew where the ball was going to go. So at the time, like, he was just like, they were yelling like, ball's going here, and we were running our set that we were running out of bounds.
Yeah. Guys, one of the themes that we'll always talk about here in West Virginia is once a Mountaineer, always a Mountaineer, no matter where you go. KJ, you're overseas. Day, you've been overseas. John, the rest of you guys have been all over the world, literally. A lot of you guys are in Morgantown, but you're out spread all over the park. What's that phrase mean to you nowadays? Once a Mountaineer, always a Mountaineer.
Well, for me, I think it means like anywhere I go, anywhere I play, I tell the guys that I still live in the same town I went to college at, and it's because of the family environment Coach Huggins built there, where we all practice together, we all work out together, chill together. So it means a lot. This is like a second home to me. I barely go back to New York just to see family, so this is really like home. And the way the fans and the people of West Virginia have embraced all of us since we've graduated has been great. So it definitely is a family environment. I'm thankful for it to be a part of it.
Yeah. Jay Flo, you're one of those guys that live here in Morgantown.
Yeah, I mean, basically, like, the people of West Virginia just welcomed me since I got here as a freshman, since I came on my visit, you know what I mean? I think once a Mountaineer, always a Mountaineer just means exactly what it says. You know, you always have a place to call home, no matter where you go.
Dennis, what was your?
Yeah.
Go right ahead, Dennis. I'd like to get your call on that. You prepped in the state, then you came up here to play. Right. Give me your take and your memories of West Virginia.
Well, first of all, just not being American, coming straight to West Virginia, I didn't know anything but West Virginia. But I was coming from totally different culture and totally different world. And on top of that, I was coming to a program that was the toughest program. And, I had to do things right the first time or there was going to be consequences. And there was. And I needed a lot of support around me. And the best people I know, I call them mom and dad, and they were in West Virginia. They were almost from West Virginia. I mean, they were born in Kentucky, but they were living in West Virginia for so long. And all the people and how they embraced me as one of their own. I mean, you remember also there'll be Turkish flags everywhere. And when I was graduating, Turkish national anthem and all that stuff, and how people were so happy for me. And even in a bad game or a good game, they were always with us. So for me, once a mountaineer, always a mountaineer is, of course, wherever we go. Sometimes we meet uh, alumni from WU. But on top of that, as a man right now, all my life, all pretty much all my values I learned and I got them in WU. You know, from Hugs, from Andy, you know, from Dave, from Kevin, from Trug. It doesn't matter, from all of them, and I still put it in my life, and I live with that. So I'm always gonna be a mountaineer, no matter what, because of that. It's part of me, and for me, that's what it really means. I mean, I can't be there. I haven't been back in Morgantown since I left, but how I live my life pretty much, uh, revolves around what I learned in WVU. So that's what it means to me.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Da'Sean, you're one of those guys that's decided to live here in Morgantown. Why did you stay, and what is it that keeps you here?
I mean, it's a lot of things. My wife's from here. I love the people. They were very welcoming to me when I first got here, and it was like kind of like a different lifestyle, not lifestyle, but more or less it was just different coming from where I came from in Newark, New Jersey, and then coming to West Virginia and Morgantown. It was just like, a different, I want to say culture shock, but more or less just something I wasn't accustomed to, like being away from home, being around, just going to college in general. It was just a new experience for me.
Mm-hmm.
And the people there from the town made it extremely easy. And then not to mention my teammates, my brothers made it extremely easy for me to be away from home. So like when I think of Morgantown or I think of West Virginia as a whole, I just think of like great memories with great people. And why would I want to leave that at the moment?
Wellington, you don't live in Morgantown, but you took a girl from Morgantown. So you got the Mountaineer connection.
Yeah. And I'm always there. Always go back. My father-in-law is the head women's basketball coach for West Virginia. I mean, like all the guys said, it is a place I still call home. It's my second home. Tons of memories, fantastic people. I mean, you walk anywhere in Morgantown, I guess still people remember who I am. At least they remember the jersey I wore, which was the same as Hugs, number 35. So they remember I wore some kind of. I played with Da'Sean. They probably do remember that. But other than that, I mean, West Virginia is an awesome place, and I'm happy that I was able to, I'm happy I'm able to call that home. At least my second home.
Yeah, it's interesting because you guys remember during the Big East tournament that they called you guys, the newspapers used the headline, the Metro Ears. So you had KJ from Mount Vernon, you had Day, and you had Wells from Jersey, and you had Truck, and you had Devin from the New York City area. So Devin, there's a world of difference between where you were raised and then back in West Virginia. What was that like for you?
For me, it was a total, different experience. For the guys you just mentioned, they know like where we come from, New York, New Jersey area is, it's hustle and bustle, it's fast paced. So, coming out to West Virginia, it was it was different, but it was like a good different in a sense where, it was an opportunity to learn, how learn a new state, one, and, being in a new environment and getting to know other students and obviously being with your teammates and just getting that, just getting familiar with the city. It was just a great experience. And, I used to live in West Virginia maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I was living there for like 3 years, after the Final Four run. So, I plan to come back out there this summer soon. But yeah, I miss West Virginia. I take a lot of things from there and apply it to my life.
Hey, Joe Mazzulla, you played here, you coached here in the state, and Jared, same. I'd like to get both of your guys' takes. Jared, you're in Ohio now. Joe, you're back up in the New England area. What makes West Virginia unique and special on this West Virginia's birthday?
You want to go first, Joe?
Yeah, sure. Just like the guy said, the loyalty. So when I graduated and got into coaching in the area, I was developing a new identity as a coach and trying to shape the identity as a player. And the fans and the people were just as supportive. And, as I got through the ranks of coaching and became a head coach at Fairmont, the same people that cheered for us and saw me as a player began to follow my career and see me as a coach. And they gave great support traveling the games. They gave great financial support. So I think a lot of my early success as a coach came from coaching in the same area that I played and just their support. And they knew who I was and they kind of helped me get to there. So I'm not sure if I would be where I am today without, starting my coaching career in West Virginia with their support and, them helping me get there.
I just think TC, just piggyback on Joe, is, there's no pro teams. So I think it's the Mountaineers are so big in that state. The fans are just tremendous. And I think it's just hard to describe. Unless you're part of it, you can't really tell people, what it's like. I think they feel it when I know our players felt it when we went to the Coliseum 2 years ago and got beat by about 40. You feel it when you're there, but when you're living there, it's just a special type of thing.
Hey, Truck, I want to bring you back in here. You're one of the guys that is here, and Hugs had made sure that you guys had a locker room. Former players have a locker room. What's that mean to you? What's that mean to you guys collectively to know that your eligibility may be done, but you've always got a place to be?
Now, when he first brought it up, I to be honest, I know he a man of his word, but when it actually was done, that was crazy because every time we leave town or we go to play in a different country, we come back, we always got a gym to work out in. Always, John, what you laughing at, John? But seriously, it was just it was amazing, to be honest, because now we can leave our stuff in there when we go overseas and just have some place to always work out. That was one of the biggest things for us. I'm talking about the New York guys in here. Like, it's always tough getting a gym in New York, and here this is definitely why it's home too, because we all got access to the gym when we need it, and they let us get waters, Gatorades, whatever's in there. I mean, they treat us like we still go here, and I think that's amazing.
Hey, Campaign, you're the guy that was born in the state. You see these other guys come in. Give me your once a Mountaineer, always a Mountaineer.
Yeah, I mean, it's for me, it's just really cool. I mean, I grew up, rooting for the Mountaineers and watching everyone play. I remember, Jared West, Mike Gansey, Kevin Pittsnoggle, all those guys. And, it's cool to see, because I live in Charlotte, North Carolina now, but it's great to see those guys still living in Morgantown and really, embracing it. And I know exactly why. Whenever I come back to West Virginia, I absolutely love it. West Virginia people just take care of West Virginia people. And we see that all over the place. In Charlotte, there's a huge alumni group, and everyone just loves to see everyone. Everyone roots for each other, and I'm not sure you get that everywhere. But everyone likes to see other people succeed, and I love all these guys, and it's great to see them doing so well.
Hey, guys, right now we've got several special guests that are with us that we're going to give the opportunity to jump in and ask a couple of questions, and we'll get to them in just a second. But a reminder for all you folks that are watching, whether it's here live or whether you're watching this recorded version, we want to give a special shout out to the folks at the Book Exchange, Anita Fleming and John Fleming. They do an unbelievable job. The Book Exchange has been in existence since 1934, and right now, because of tonight and the 10th anniversary of the Final Four, they've got a special. All of the WVU gear and the largest selection of it in the state. You'll find the best deals, men, women's, and kids, souvenirs, and a whole lot more. Check it out, bookexchangewv.com. At checkout, use BX4 Final Four. BX4 Final Four. You get a 25% off your next order plus free shipping. That's BX4 Final Four. Oh, by the way, I'm also supposed to read this. For those of you guys, KJ, John, and Da'Sean, your guy Dave Ryan wants me to read this. If you're tuning in for the first time and haven't checked out the Final Four podcast, it's absolutely the best sports-related podcast in Morgantown. The competition isn't even close. Not even my own podcast.
Oh, wow.
Join John Flowers, Kevin Jones, Da'Sean Butler, and their friend Ash for a weekly roundup of everything and anything, including overseas basketball, what's happening in the world, and even squirrels addicted to meth. The podcast is available on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast. Subscribe today and enjoy their first new series. And right now, those guys are doing a 10-year later look back at the Final Four team, interviews and more. It's the Final Four podcast, one of the world's truly great podcasts, and there's a million of them. You bet.
I thought Truck had a podcast too.
Oh
no. Truck is on fire.
Is that the name of your podcast?
Unmatched. Truck is on fire.
Okay, cool.
You know what? I'm gonna let the Final Fourcast have their day.
That's very nice of you. There's that selfless team attitude, Truck. Very good.
I'm still waiting for a pass from Truck.
I just wish I could get invited to come on that Final Four podcast maybe one of these days.
You'll keep waiting, Willie.
Let's jump in here. Hey, folks, we got some special guests that want to ask you a couple of questions. Catherine Marable. Catherine, hello. Are you there? Go ahead. A couple of questions for the Final Four guys.
Hi, guys. Haven't seen you for a while.
Hey, Kathy.
Hey, guys. I have a question, and it goes to all of you. You're all fathers. Most of you, all of you. Campaign's going to be a father. How do you feel about your children playing college basketball and pursuing professional sports?
Actually, from a parent's perspective and playing college basketball, I think sports, it could be anything. But sports in our household means a lot. I think sports brings out so many different values as a person that you can't get anywhere else. You're able to just learn so many different things. How to be a better teammate, how to be a better person, how to think on your feet, how to meet people, how to interact. And for everybody on this call, it got us together. Sports, basketball in general got us all together. So, I love the sports, basketball specifically, or any sport, just not volleyball. I don't like the shorts for my girls. But I would love if any sport, they'd be able to play any sport and have a passion in it.
Awesome. Anybody else want that one?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. I want y'all to give this question to Coach Martin, because me and him spoke about this actually not too long ago.
Yeah, Coach Martin's daughter shot the layup. She shot the layup at halftime at the basketball and made it.
I think everyone on here has kids. You want your kids to be obviously first healthy, but you want the best for your kids. And I think Patrick Mahomes said it a couple weeks ago, in that with what our society is going through now, if our society kind of mirrored what sports did for you or our locker room, I think we'd all be in a better place, because when you play sports, you don't see color. It's just your teammate. And you depend on him and he leans on you. And Wells said it best. It's things that being on a team that life can't teach you. You learn that through sports and winning and losing and competing. And I'm sure most of us want our kids to play a certain sport just because it'll teach you a lot about life.
Yeah.
Hey, Tony, I'll say this. Tomorrow's Father's Day. And these guys, their phones are going to ring like crazy tomorrow from everywhere in the country. You think about that one for a minute. You know what I mean, fellas?
All right, we thought about it. What's the point?
The phones will be ringing from
I love you, Coach Hahn.
Hey, Catherine.
You're great.
Who's this? Who's this?
Catherine, you get another question. Fire away before this thing goes off the rails.
I wanted to hear from you guys about how did they feel about how they felt or what they meant to the state of West Virginia, because it was such a big deal. It was such a big deal to us. I mean, I live at the very, very bottom part of West Virginia, right on the Virginia border. And I was ready to drive to Morgantown just to welcome you back.
Yeah, Coach Huggins did a great job of just telling us all the time and just pounding in our brains that how much we meant to the state, you know what I mean, and how much we mirrored the state, and we had to go out and play hard just to represent the state of West Virginia. So, I mean,
and I do have something for you.
For who?
You.
Oh, thank you.
You remember? Yeah.
Can't wait to get it.
Yeah, well, you should have been down here to have a basketball game. So.
Moving on to further action.
No, it's apple shine. That's what John likes.
Oh, apple
Go to
shine.
Ashbrook, John. Go to Ashbrook, John.
John and Ashbrook.
Go to Ashbrook, John.
That's all John needs is some apple shine. Yeah,
absolutely. Chuck, what's the Ashbrook story?
Nah, I wanted Hugs in here to tell the story about the Dev. I wanted Dev to admit when he got me in trouble from leaving Maryland because we got back too late, and he told Dev, "Don't hang out with me."
You was the bad influence during that time, bro.
Hey, Catherine, thank you very much. Our next guest up is James. Hey, James, thanks for being with us on the show. Fire away with the Mountaineers.
Good game, James. You're on mute, James. Uh-oh.
Can we unmute James? Hey, James, you're on mute, buddy.
Yeah. Okay.
Go right ahead.
I do tech for high school, so that shouldn't have happened. Anyway, I had a bunch of really important, thought-provoking questions, but forget that. I want to know, in a fight, who wins, a grizzly bear or Coach Hahn?
Afraid a grizzly bear gets him this time.
Coach Hahn can't even make a fist.
I know he can't even fight a bear. A teddy bear, let alone a grizzly bear.
I don't know. I think you're underestimating him.
He's a good guy.
I'm a lover, not a fighter, fellas. You know that.
And I just wanted to thank all you guys for all, you don't know what you guys do. I'm not even a West Virginia guy, meaning I wasn't born there. But I've got, my West Virginia ink in my blood. And you guys just what you do. I bet my favorite memory with my oldest brother was that Final Four in a bar in New York City. And you guys really show what family's like when it's not your family, if that makes sense. I just wanted to I should tell you how much I appreciate that and everything.
Thanks, brother.
I'll tell you one of the things.
And stop laughing at me, Wellington.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, James. I like your background there too, James. Thank you very much.
It's all stuff that I donated when I moved to houses, and I put it all together. And somewhere in some poor place, there's a bunch of Mountaineer fans that don't even know what's going on.
You have any stories from New York? Do you remember anything from that night?
Just going like this with my brother because I saw a picture of it at the end. That was it. That's all I remember.
James and I go way back. We James and I met. I'm not sure, maybe 9 years ago. Just through work, and been close ever since.
I thought they were playing a goof on me at work. They said there's this guy down here to talk to you about stuff for basketball. So I'm a basketball coach, and I saw it was Wellington, and I'm looking, and and the first thing he asked, he goes, "Well, are you a West Virginia fan?" I go, I really don't know how to answer that question. I've answered it a million times, but to you, you're I'm like a stan right now. You're like my Justin Bieber kind of. This is going to be weird. Who put you up to this? This has got to be a joke. And it was just a very odd coincidence, weird coincidence. And yeah, he's like a person I've never met before. Wellington is he opened up his home to me out in Morgantown, and I let my dog shit on the floor, and I made him clean it. I didn't see it, and that was the end of that. and I help coach his AAU programs. And he's helped me with my guys getting into, good looks at schools, and what he's done with his AAU program is just unbelievable.
Awesome. Well, very good. Thanks for your
Thanks,
questions.
James.
Appreciate it.
Bye,
man.
guys.
Hey, Joshua, good evening to you. Go right ahead. It's your turn.
All right. Thank you, Tony. I hope I don't get clipped here. I got a couple of questions. First question, who is the best passer on the team of the Final Four team? Who would y'all say is the best passer?
I would say Trump, actually.
You silly.
As much.
Yeah, I'll say me. I got dimes. I got more dimes than you. I got a lot of dimes.
Who?
Alleys.
Fuck is the best passer?
Please.
Banks, how many alleys I gave you?
As much crap as
Nah, you gave me some good alleys, but I don't know if he was the best passer.
Wells too. John too.
as much crap as
AJ too.
I don't know. It's an argument. I could have been the best passer.
What?
I'm going Devin.
What?
Banks, I'm going back on mute. I'm going back on mute, Banks.
Hey, Larry Harrison, you're from a coaching standpoint. Any of the coaches, who was the best passer on that team?
Yo, Coach Harrison, let them know. Let them know, Larry Harry.
Hey, do I really have to get into this?
Get into it.
No. I'll leave that. I'll leave that one alone. I'll leave that one alone.
Yo, Coach Harrison, who the best passer, man?
I'll leave that one alone, Truck. I'll stay out of that one.
Josh, who do you think is the best passer?
Hey, John Flowers was the best passer.
Pass the ball.
I mean,
Josh, who's the best passer, Josh?
I have no idea because everybody passed. It was a very unselfish. So it's hard to tell once, and it's something I guess practice, and I didn't watch y'all practice, but that I like the insight there. My second question is, if there was a pizza eating contest, get out of practice the next day, 2010, who's eating the most pieces of pizza to get out of practice?
Da'Sean Butler, no question.
Oh yeah, no question about that.
Turkey.
Little Caesars.
Everything.
Big hot and ready fan over there.
Everything.
Pause.
Yeah, my bad.
Hey, tell him, Da'Sean, $5, right?
That's all it takes for a day.
Go pizza.
Hey,
yeah.
Josh, thanks so much for being with us. There's a couple other names. I don't see them on here. I'm going to try them. If they're here, they're here. If not, I want to get into a couple other things with you. Stacy, are you here? Is Stacy on the line? Swing and a miss? Nope. Okay. Cool. And Sam? No Sam.
Stacy, I hope that's not A-list.
All right, so here we go, guys. There is the possibility that collegiate athletes can be paid for their name, their image, and their likeness. And it could start a year from now, July of 21. State of Florida was the first to pass the bill. California's got one up. Multiple states. What do you guys think of name, image, likeness coming to college sports? Is it one of those deals where you're going, I wish I was still playing?
Tony, I don't know about name, image, likeness, but I do think that there should be a union. There should be a coaches union. There should be a players union. There's just too many important things that the NCAA benefits from that even the coaches don't benefit from as well. So I think maybe not a union, maybe an association, but I think if there's the NCAA and then there's a college union and then a players union, I think more can get accomplished.
It's really interesting. Hey, Jared, don't you think that right now with what is going on, players are empowering themselves more than we've ever seen before?
Yeah, and I think they should, especially with what's going on right now. It's sickening. I think all of us are hurting, and I think you're seeing a lot of athletes, through social media and have a voice. But I do agree with Joe. I think there needs to be some unions, coaches, players. I think it's good to see. I think, John Flowers started this many years ago with his social media stuff, and now you're seeing it. It's just getting bigger and bigger TC, and that's the player should have a voice. I'm all for
it. And from a marketing standpoint, I mean, you guys, I don't think every player on a team is going to have the brand that will have people running to them to sponsor stuff. But I do think you guys in particular, you guys would have done extremely well because of the recognition that you had. Obviously it deals with the success, but I just think your personalities, I think you guys, unfortunately, would have had a lot more change in the bank if name, image, and likeness were in existence back then. I mean, Da'Sean, with that beard, you could have been unbelievable in the hairstyle business, right?
Yes.
You could have had a pizza contract for sure, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Truck with your name, you could have been a transportation guy, right, KJ? We could transportation, truck, transportation. I would think there's money sitting on the table.
I think guys deserve all the time and effort that they put into the game of basketball and being great at anything, right? I mean, when people study, right, like they're studying to be great at it and to one day get a really good job and to, earn money off of the knowledge that they have that they want to put out to the rest of the world. When basketball players or athletes in general are studying, right, they're playing basketball in the gym, they're practicing. They're doing so that they could one day get a free education, but also be able to, make money at the game. So why not? I think I think guys definitely deserve everything they put into, when the lights aren't on.
Speaking of money, we want to let you folks know, for you guys here with us tonight, and then those that are watching in, we have raised $1,740 tonight, thanks in large part to the donations and to the book exchange for helping us out. And so that money will go to help folks that are dealing with cancer and needing some help as their families do that. And also you can continue to make donations, and we'll have that on social as well. You can do it via Venmo or whatever. You can do that. I want to ask you a player question here, guys. It could be in college. It could be players that you've played against since you've left WVU. And I want to go around the horn. Greatest player that you've ever played against is fill in the blank. Greatest player you ever played against, that one that you went like, oh my. Kevin Jones, who?
Oh man, that's hard for me.
I know it's hard.
But I think I'm gonna say, because I think I told this story before. My favorite player is Kevin Garnett, and when my 1 year I played in Cleveland, I actually got a chance to play against him and guard him a couple of times. So just that experience for me was just like, it was crazy getting to play against someone you looked up to. Your whole time playing basketball, and was one of the people you modeled your game after. So to be able to have that experience to guard him was, I would say, that for me, that was it.
That's neat. John Flowers, best ever.
As you know, I grew up in the DMV, the DC area, and I was playing against Kevin Durant, Mike Beasley. I don't know if you guys saw the In the Water documentary about PG County guys, but it's kind of hard to top that. It's kind of hard for me to get starstruck after growing up playing against that type of talent. So I'll just say Kevin Durant from growing up.
Da'Sean.
Geez, I'll probably say Jeff Green.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very difficult person to guard. Very strong, quick. Could play 3 to 4, can shoot. Just did a lot of everything. That was kind of like my welcoming into the Big East in a sense. So
yeah, interesting. Wellington, who was it?
Steph Curry. I would say before that, maybe Blake Griffin when we played in Oklahoma.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yes, Steph Curry was pretty good.
Absolutely. Devin Ebanks, best player you've ever played against?
Bean.
Besides me, Dev, I mean, who could you?
Kobe? I don't know. I feel like saying Kobe's too easy, man.
Yeah, I know.
Well, you can say that.
It's a Kobe story, bro.
Because me and Kobe had a lot of The thing is, Kobe used to call me out in practice, so that's a little personal. I won't get into that. But I'll probably say Kevin Durant.
Yeah. Not too bad a company there. Joe Mazzulla, who is it?
Two hardest. One was Johnny Flynn and Levance Fields, my freshman year.
Really? How about that? That's interesting. Campaign. You could, who would it be? It could be one of your current Mountaineer brethren or somebody else. Who was it?
Yeah, I'd have to say, growing up in youth basketball in AAU, I played against OJ Mayo a lot. But in practice every day, Ebanks and Da'Sean, and one guy, maybe not the best I've ever played against, but that was maybe underappreciated in terms of in Mountaineer history was Casey Mitchell. Was an extremely talented individual and one of the most talented guys that on the roster in my years there. He could really play. So that's what I got.
Truck.
I'm gonna go Johnny Flynn and Dominic James from Marquette. Wow. But Campaign, when you talk about players, you better mention me because I dunked on you.
You never dunked on me. I dunked
yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Never
and
happened.
I can't even dunk. So you know
what? Does anybody remember this?
Oh my God!
Can we talk about Cam's dunk in the Big East tournament? Can somebody bring that up? Besides me, I mean.
Nah, can we bring up "Let's Go Lose"? Let's go lose.
since Coach Harris was here, obviously, and Hugs isn't here right now. My junior year, Hugs is recruiting or doing something, and Coach Harrison has unlimited time to himself during the Christmas break. I would love to hear what Coach Harrison was thinking when he was able to take a look at his 6-hour practice plan and think about what could possibly go wrong. But we'd love to hear what you were thinking about, Coach, when you were writing up that practice plan and you're like, well, it's my time right now. Let me show what these guys are all about.
First of all, Wells, no one wanted to be there.
We slept there. We slept in the gym.
No one wanted to be there, and we're all coming back from Christmas, and everyone's pissed off. You guys are pissed off. The coaches are pissed off that Coach Huggins is not there, but he still wants us to practice. And then we got this. Let me make sure I say the right word. Then we got this non-scholarship player. Who we're in the huddle, and everyone's pissed off about being there at practice. And we said, okay, let's go. Let's get ready to practice. And Cam, I don't know exactly what you said.
No place I'd rather be.
Where else would I rather be?
Yeah, where else would I rather be? I think those were the last words you said that night.
In the Coliseum.
In the Coliseum, yes. But
he said, "Give me another dilly bar."
Coach Harrison just said, "Campaign, get the fuck out."
hey, boys, this show is from 6 to 8. I think your time's up.
We got one last question. Dennis Kalichla, thank you for being with us because now it's what? It's 3 o'clock in the morning where you are. So thanks for staying with us. Who's the best player you ever played against? Did we lose Dennis?
He might say a guitar person.
Okay, I'm here.
He's here. He's here.
Okay.
I woke him up.
Probably Cam Thurman. Seriously, I think one of the best players I've ever played against was Nenad Kristic was one of them, and the second one was I didn't really get the chance to guard him or anything because he's a different position. But when I saw him, it was Luka Doncic. He was 16, 17 years old, but amazing player. I mean, amazing player. Everybody was shocked when we first saw him. And I think that would be the two that I would say in tie.
Outstanding. All right, guys, our time is up. I hope you've enjoyed the 2 hours. We can't thank you enough for giving us your time. It's great to see all of you. Congratulations on what you're doing. Congratulations on the 10 years ago and making a memory for Mountaineer fans that they'll absolutely never forget. We should do it definitely before another 10 years is up. Next time around, though, chances are your hair is going to be gray, but that's just kind of what happens. You'll stay young at heart. Again, we want to thank everyone for doing this, and I want to thank the Book Exchange for sponsoring bookexchangewv.com. 25% off your next order when you put in the promo code BX4Final4 when you go to the Book Exchange website. So on behalf of everyone, again, you can keep up to date with these guys on the Final Four podcast. Stay safe, stay well, and thanks so much for being with us. And remember, it's a great day to be a